welcome back to another edition of There Will Be Experts. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, I have unfortunate news for you.
Okay.
The studio called. We have to go back for reshoots.
Oh, God damn it.
I mean, it's our own fault, man. Tonally, we were all over the fucking place. The editing was shit. I mean, it was mostly your fault. I'm going to take like 30% of the blame, but yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. The execs always blame me anyway.
Yeah. All right, well, this is actually something I've been wanting to talk about. Is we're going to go ahead and start off with the movie news and talk about the Rogue One reshoots. And I just want to say, I'm so fucking sick of hearing about reshoots. Like, it has gotten ridiculous. Every fucking movie, we get reports now. Oh my god, they have reshoots. It's the end of the fucking world.
Oh my god, reshoots.
And it's just like, I don't know if people realize Captain America Civil War had reshoots. Every fucking
most movies out there do.
Yeah,
and
like
it's not always indicative of a bad movie or a bad script. Usually it's, I don't like the lighting in this scene, or just something seemingly insignificant sometimes.
Yeah. The only time you ever have to worry about it is with Fan 4-Stick. And that is because when the reshoots were announced...
I don't think anyone really worries about Fan 4-Stick because no one saw that fucking movie.
I unfortunately did. I wish... but fortunately, I saw it for free. So
okay, that's good.
Yeah. But... the only time you have to worry about it is with like 20 Fan 4-Stick, because the actual studio was on record as saying we are going back to reshoot the ending of the entire movie.
Awesome.
That's when you have to worry.
Yeah.
Like this fucking thing, it's like they've turned it into a thing because it creates clickbait for these sites. It was like, oh, some asshole says Disney doesn't like Rogue One, it's going to be dog shit because they're reshooting. It's just super annoying to me. And this is actually me announcing this is the last time we are going to be fucking reporting on goddamn reshoots. Yeah. Anything else you want to add with the Rogue One news, Ron?
No, I would just say that your indication there's a problem is if a studio's not saying why they're reshooting, and they're on like their third or fourth announced reshoots. That could be a problem. But, one or two times, maybe even three is not uncommon, I wouldn't say. If it seems like they're constantly going in for reshoots, then there's probably a script being changed every once in a while.
And a lot of the time, it actually ends up making the movie better. Like with Thor 2. If they don't go in and after the fact add in 10 times more Loki, that movie is not nearly as good as its end product. Yeah.
Of course, that's probably also why Christopher Eccleston suffered a little bit. But
yeah.
But, that movie I would not have enjoyed nearly as much.
Yeah, and I don't even know if more Loki necessarily meant less of Eccleston, because it seemed like they just, as far as the original script, never had anything for that character to do.
Oh, no, he was a villain, and Marvel doesn't develop their villains, really.
No, not outside the TV shows, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about Star Wars, let's get to the next story. Lawrance Kasdan, the famous writer from Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back, and recently helped JJ do Force Awakens, is now writing with his son the spin-off Han Solo film that Lord Miller directing. And he recently announced this week that they officially start filming in January, which I am completely fucking on board for. Love the directors, love the writers. I really, really like the casting. From what I've seen of the guy, we still need to see Alden Ehrenreich in Hell Caesar, though.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch that movie. I have a feeling I'm going to know the instant set photos come out because you're going to be texting me.
Probably. I want to see, they might keep it under wraps until like a trailer or something, but I really want to see who they cast as Lando too.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do a fucking young Han Solo movie without having that scene where he wins the Falcon from Lando.
Yeah. I would like to see that, like, for the first however long of the movie, that the Falcon is actually Lando's and not Han's.
That'd be cool. I want to see the Kessel Run,
and it's probably all shiny and new.
And then Han Solo and Chewie fuck it all up. Yeah. I want to see that. I want to see the Kessel Run. There's a lot of cool shit they can do.
They could totally pull like a Tommy Boy and have the Millennium Falcon completely shiny new, and shit just keeps happening to it throughout the entire movie. And Lando's just like, "What are you doing to my ship?"
Yeah, I would like to see too if they ever take any influence from. I don't remember if it was a novel or a comic series. I don't know if you've heard of this, but at some point they actually did some backstory for Han Solo in that he actually used to be a pilot for the Empire.
Oh yeah,
and then basically got sick of their shit and started smuggling shit through the Empire, and that was what made him so good because he knew their patterns and shit.
Right, he was on the inside.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they did a little callback for that. I always thought that was kind of an interesting idea.
That is an interesting idea.
All right, let's see. Next up, we have a whole bunch of casting news to get through. So first up, we're going to talk about Mary Poppins Returns. And
oh boy, that's the movie I've been waiting for, Jeff.
It's even in the title, it's Mary Poppins Returns. I don't think anyone noticed that Mary Poppins has been gone.
They had to point it out in the title. The title for me invokes the Penguin and Catwoman and Christopher Walken and a giant duck. And penguins with bombs.
Makes it sound so much more interesting than it's actually going to be.
Penguins with bombs strapped to them fit in perfectly with Mary Poppins because there's penguins.
Well, she does use an umbrella too. So
so Batman is in this movie. Am I right?
I wish.
Now, dude, I don't. Not only do I not understand who this movie is for, but what is even the point? Like, one, does this current generation even give two shits about Mary Poppins? And two, why do we feel the need to remake the 60s movie? Not even remake, but follow up the 60s movie. It was fine the way it was, the whole franchise.
Yeah, so we more recently talked about this, about Goosebumps. I thought Goosebumps had really no audience.
Yeah.
It ended up doing all right for them just because it was made for so cheap, but it didn't really do gangbusters or anything for them.
Yeah.
And fucking Jumanji, I feel the same way.
Space Jam 2 is how I feel also.
Space Jam, I don't know. It's weird to me. We should probably
stick.
We should bring up the only reason I would ever watch this at all is for Emily Blunt. Because I fucking love me some Emily Blunt, and if I have to, I will just put it on Netflix on mute and then just watch it in the background.
See, and you know that's great casting, and I'm happy for her because that's a major fucking role. But I don't know who's gonna see it. I mean, you know,
it's coming out
because it's not even one of those movies that I have fond enough memories of that I would want to take my kids to go see. Mary Poppins Returns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when was the original movie?
1964,
something like that. 62, something like that.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's weird because anyone that, like you were saying, I don't think any there's a
1964.
Nice.
Fuck your IMDb brain, Jeff. I got this one.
You got one. Good for you. Yeah.
It's okay. I make God bleed.
there's a decent chance that like little bitty kids have an idea of what like Aladdin or Beauty and the Beast or Lion King are, but no little kid like ages 3 to 10 are gonna have any fucking clue what Mary Poppins is, and it's going to be geared towards kids.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. It made me scratch my head, but. And they're pimping it out too. If you didn't see the release date, it's Christmas Day 2018.
Because what is that? Yeah, I saw December 25th. What would that make it? How old would that make it? Would that be 40, 50, almost 60 years old? 54 years old?
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah. I don't get it.
So, I mean, if anything, shouldn't this movie have come out like 4 years before that, like 2014? That'd be the 50th anniversary.
This is Hollywood we're talking about. Well, What's crazy too is like, I mean, was Mary Poppins was Disney, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so this weekend, I mean, we're just talking about like Mary Poppins having a hard time finding an audience. I don't know. Did you actually see the box office for the second Alice in Wonderland movie?
No, I did not.
So the first movie opened huge. It's like one of like the top 20 best grossing movies of all time worldwide. It just crushed. Opening weekend, I forget the exact numbers. I think it did over 100 million. Opening weekend for its sequel, and usually sequels do more.
Yeah.
Especially for like a Disney movie like that. It made a fourth of the box office almost.
Really?
Yeah. And the other thing is,
I didn't even know it came out by the time it came out. I never even heard.
It's like,
normally it's all over the
place.
Yeah. They're so busy, whoring out Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean and everything else.
Yeah, and they also... Okay, this is another thing I don't understand about Hollywood. How many weeks are there in a year, Ron?
52?
Why the fuck would you open your movie up against X-Men? I mean, it's not exactly Captain America, but why?
Yeah.
Last week, your best competition was like fucking Angry Birds. Like, why would you do it this week? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, like, so that Alice in Wonderland sequel made a shit ton of money before, was a sequel, had all of the cast back pretty much. The director changed, but I don't think Tim Burton by himself equates to a fucking 75% drop in box office.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, if that has a hard time finding its audience again, Mary Poppins I could easily see being a big flop.
Yeah, at the same time, I could see it just because it's a kid's movie just making bank.
I mean, so is Alice in Wonderland. It was PG. It's a PG Disney movie.
Touche, good sir.
I don't know.
Also, though, I mean, well, Christmas Day.
That will help it. And I don't think they're gonna be opening up an X-Men movie.
When you and I worked at a movie theater, Christmas Day was the busiest day of the year.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Surprisingly, I would never have guessed that before working there.
Well, I mean, what's the alternative? Sitting at home and talking to relatives? Like, they'd rather watch
Jesus.
a movie.
Please, not that. Not the relatives. Yeah. I'd rather face the same direction for 2 hours and sit in darkness.
You make going to the movie sound so much more metal than it actually is. I just sit in darkness. Yeah, let's go on to the next thing up. And this was a little bit of interesting news, too. So apparently Shane Black's been trying to get a Doc Savage movie up off the ground for a long time now. Last couple of years, they've had this script floating around for it. And apparently it's finally happening because The Rock on Monday released on, I think it was Instagram, basically confirmation with him and Shane Black saying, yeah, I'm officially Doc Savage. It's happening. I think they begin filming sometime the next year in 2017.
Now, I had never heard confirmation on this, but if rumors are true... The Rock's been trying to get into a couple comic book movies for a little bit now. I guess one of his favorite characters is Black Adam, and when they first started talking about Shazam, he wanted Black Adam.
I think at some point he was even tentatively like casted, but then
like
I don't
unofficially.
Think, I don't think that that fucking Shazam movie's gonna see the light of day now. They can't afford to be ballsy anymore. So if you're not familiar with Doc Savage, he's basically even predating. He's not your standard superhero, but he's basically a superhero. He's kind of a cross between Superman and Indiana Jones.
Okay,
he's
that already sounds more interesting than Superman.
No, I wanted to talk about this too, because when I was doing some research about this, I found this fascinating. I think you will too. So Doc Savage came out before Superman. He came out in the early 30s. I think it was 33 where his first appearance was.
Okay.
His first name is Clark. His name, his like alias name is the Man of Bronze.
Really? And
he has, in the Arctic, a Fortress of Solitude.
Does he really?
Yeah. So 3/4 of shit about Superman is literally ripped off of Doc Savage.
That's craziness.
And yeah, I had never known that until the post that The Rock actually put on Instagram. And then you research it, it's all true. I was like, how the shit did they get away with doing Fortress of Solitude? Like, word for word. I just thought that was really fascinating.
I'm looking at some stuff on Doc Savage now. I could see that looking at the cover of this one comic. I could see The Rock easily.
He's gonna be doing this role. He's also gonna be doing Big Trouble in Little China. Fucking The Rock, dude. Like he actually put a picture on Instagram a couple weeks ago where it was actually like his desk where he has projects offered, projects in development, and like future projects and shit. He is basically lined up for the next like 5 years straight of movies and TV shows.
He comes and goes in waves. Like it'll be rock, and then he'll disappear for a little bit, and then he'll make like a movie that bombs and go away. Like what was the apocalyptic one he just did? The earthquake one.
Oh, San Andreas.
He'll do something like that, and then it'll bomb, and then he'll go away for a little bit, and then he just comes back in full force. Like, he always survives a movie bombing. I don't know. Maybe the people are just intimidated by him.
They're talking now about, and it makes sense, like the Fast and the Furious spinoffs. You could really easily do it about his character.
Oh, you could spin anything off of those movies. Those movies are spinoffs of themselves.
He's one of the easiest ones to do so, too, because he's already one of the cooler characters, even in the main movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but typically I like The Rock, but I will not go and watch something just for him. But the combination of him and Shane Black writing and directing, I would actually probably watch this.
I would watch it anyway, just because it sounds interesting.
I'll watch just about anything Shane Black does, just because I like his sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about the biggest casting news of the week, though.
Fuck yes.
No, it's not official yet. Tom Hiddleston, Loki himself, is reportedly really, really close to signing the dotted line to become James Bond.
There's no way he's not getting it. If he's in the running at all, up against everyone else he's against, I don't think there's any way he's not getting it.
If they don't hire him for this and he's willing, they're fucking fool.
Yeah, they are. And if he walks, then it better be fucking Idris Elba, because that's the only other name the internet cared about.
And I don't think even if Idris Elba wanted to, I think he's so locked up to the projects that it'd be hard for him to do so.
Yeah.
I would imagine they want to do sequels for Dark Tower. That's getting underway. If Dark Tower hits big, that could be a franchise for him. He's obviously locked up with Marvel anytime they do Thor stuff. He's the villain for Star Trek 3. Like he's popping up in a lot of shit. So if Tom Hiddleston's available, I would let him fucking be Bond for as long as he wanted to.
Oh,
I'm totally on board. You give me fucking 30 years of Tom Hiddleston Bond, I'd watch all of them.
So the rumor had been that Daniel Craig walked away from $68 million for the next Bond. Apparently, the official number was $100 million for the next 2 films, and he said, "Nope."
Why the fuck would you even want him that bad?
I don't know.
I thought he was fine, and the James Bond movies made money, but in my opinion, they're not fucking making bank because of Daniel Craig. They're making bank because it's fucking James Bond.
Exactly. They're on like, what if Tom Hiddleston gets signed up, what movie would this be? 28? 29?
Maybe even 25. I can't remember. I've read it over the last week or so.
I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, it's something. It's in the mid to late 20s, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, the name alone will put asses in the seat. So
yeah, I told you the other day he's not even casted yet, and this is the most I've ever been excited about James Bond in my life.
Oh yeah. No, I mean I love the James Bond movies except for the recent ones. No fault to Daniel Craig, I liked him. I just didn't like the movies. And
well, to be fair, you only saw the first 2. You haven't seen the last 2, but yeah,
that was enough. I gave him half of their movies. But, yeah, I mean, if they pass up Tom Hiddleston, then, you know, you deserve what's coming. Because especially if the guy's interested, which, why would he not be? That's one of the most recognizable names in the entertainment industry, period, James Bond.
And he's, and for Britain, it's pretty much James Bond and the Doctor.
And Doctor Who, yeah.
And that's the biggest draw.
The 2 roles I want to see Hiddleston in.
Yeah. Like for Britain, that's the equivalent. That is like Batman and Spider-Man for America, pretty much.
Pretty much.
So it's like, why the hell would he turn that? And then plus, he's obviously interested in the genre because I still need to watch it. But The Night Manager, that was part of the tangential news. The director of The Night Manager, where she was directing Hiddleston as a secret agent, is now in talks as potentially directing James Bond.
Which, that tells you how fucking good The Night Manager was, dude. We need to get on that.
Yeah, I really need to watch it.
Because if it was good enough that they sought out the director and the star for Night Manager to be Bond, then yeah.
And then, like, Tom Hiddleston brings in a gigantic audience who normally wouldn't have seen it, too, just because of fucking Loki fangirls, dude.
Oh, I know.
Like, James Bond already made bank. It will make even more money, where if they in like one of the alternatives thrown out there was Jamie Bell, and like I like Jamie Bell, but that was kind of out of left field.
Yeah, he doesn't scream Bond to me. You know, nothing against him. You know, and he's a good actor. He's a good looking dude, but I don't look at him and see James Bond. I've always liked the idea of Clive Owen, who's not in the running, but another podcast that we both listened to was talking about that. I didn't know this, but that same podcast mentioned that there was a woman in the running. Very low points but there was actually a woman to be Jane Bond.
I hadn't heard of that, but that'd be interesting at least. Like
it would be interesting. That will never fucking happen, but it would be cool.
Well, never say never. we are on the fucking verge, I think, of getting a female doctor, so...
Yeah. Yeah, no... it better be Hiddleston. Dude, how awesome would it be to get the director from the Night Manager, get Hiddleston as Bond, and Hugh Laurie for the villain in Bond? It's just the fucking Night Manager.
I'd watch it.
And Hugh Laurie's an arms dealer, and Hiddleston's trying to take him down. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, really, if you're a Bond villain... You're pretty much an arms dealer. I don't even know what else they do, really, in the James Bond movie.
They try to knock over Fort Knox every once in a while.
Yeah.
Have a Chinaman that throws a hat. Try to kill someone with a laser. Yeah. Happens.
Yeah. I don't know. If they don't fucking hire him, they're damn fool, though.
Yeah, they are.
One of our other favorite actors on the planet is Jeff Goddamn Bridges.
Yes.
And he has joined the cast of... Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
The insane cast of Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
As if Kingsman 2 couldn't be any more awesome.
Oh my
Holy
God.
shit, man.
Because, I mean, so we have the original cast, the ones that lived anyway. We have Colin Firth rumored. We've got Halle Berry, Channing Tatum, Julianne Moore, Jeff Bridges now, and the rumored Elton John scene we didn't get from the first one is supposedly happening in this one. So
they'll make it work.
Yeah.
I think it'll be awesome.
So yeah, dude, it's just crazy.
When does Kingsman 2 come out? Is it? I think it's 2017, but I can't remember when.
Yeah, it's
they might not even have an official date yet.
June 16th, 2017.
I am excited. Just about a year away.
So yeah, no.
So did you want to talk about any of your concerns over the cast?
The only concerns that I have, I mean, I know that their budget is going to be a hell of a lot bigger this time around, but typically I don't like to see movie casting just be star power. That always kind of worries me because, like, famously, Halle Berry drug down the original X-Men trilogy because of how much they had to pay her. They had to cut shit out of the movie to, you know, get enough free budget for her and stuff. This budget,
and she was like the least interesting X-Men.
Yeah.
Too.
Julianne Moore, who I'm gonna guess is probably the villain, just because the last several roles she's been a villain.
I think they might have even confirmed her as the villain.
Yeah, like the last 3 times I've seen her, she's been a villain, or a character that turned out to be a villain. But yeah, so Julianne Moore is another one that's been around a while. She's won awards and everything else. She's not cheap to get. And it's got a shit ton of recognizable names all throughout it. I don't know. It just always kind of worries me. But because sometimes it also worries me on casting. Sometimes the casting itself suffers because, well, we could have this person that fit the role perfectly that no one knows, or we could have had this person, you know. That always kind of worries me.
I do believe in Matthew Vaughn, though. He's yet to make a movie I didn't like.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a lot going for it also. I mean, like you pointed out that that it's going to have a much higher budget, at least double, if not closer to triple. So, I don't know. I am curious about Channing Tatum. I assume he's going to be the American spy that they have to work with.
Yeah, they even had one of the posters for him too. One of his quotes. I love their posters too. They've been awesome.
Is it? My mama always told me the British gave us Southerners our good manners.
Yeah, he'll probably be rocking some of his Cajun.
Yeah. Ironically, his poster is not only that quote, but a pair of glasses also. But so, yeah, bottom line, I want this fucking movie and I want it now.
Yeah, at the very least, it might not be as good as the first one, but it's at least going to be entertaining as fuck, I think.
Yeah. So especially if that Elton John scene does make it in, because I wanted to fucking see that after I read about it.
I think no matter what, we feel like we got our money's worth on that ticket, so.
Yeah.
And I hope they find a way this one in the goddamn theater.
Yes.
Opening night.
That Thursday night. We're going.
All right, next up in the casting news, Ghost in the Shell. Yet again, with some controversial casting. Because people just like to bitch about this movie, it seems.
It was controversial?
Rila Fukushima as an undisclosed character.
It was controversial? I never heard the controversy around it.
Well, it's ridiculous because...
They're saying it should have been her instead of ScarJo?
This was one of the actresses, one of the more famous Asian actresses working in Hollywood now. People were actually complaining about saying, well, if you were willing to add her to the movie anyway, why wasn't she just the lead? That was the controversy about it. As you would expect the internet in 2016 to react.
Right.
Let's not be happy for the girl getting a good role.
And to be honest,
let's complain.
ScarJo was a financial decision, probably more than anything. I'm not saying she doesn't have the acting ability. I mean, she basically just needs to be Black Widow with a different hair color. But you know, it's anime fans and nerds recognize the name Ghost in the Shell. Other people recognize the name Scarlett Johansson.
Did you ever watch the video about it that Max Landis put up?
No, I didn't.
He basically was saying you really can't complain. You can complain about how the industry works, how you were just explaining about how the regular audience isn't going to know the title of the thing. They only know the title of the actress.
Yeah.
He was basically saying you are totally right in complaining about it's kind of fucked up how the system works, but you can't complain about the people making the Ghost in the Shell movie because if they don't have ScarJo in the leading role, there is no Ghost in the Shell movie because what you were just talking about. The fucking way Hollywood works is if they don't have fucking Batman or like Spider-Man or James Bond, they go off star power to get the movie made.
Right.
We wouldn't have a movie to talk about right now if they didn't have. And how many notable actresses right now can get a movie made? Not very many.
Yeah.
Like we got ScarJo, Jennifer Lawrence. It starts becoming difficult to come up with female actresses who can get a movie made. ScarJo is one of them. So you can't really complain. I encourage anyone to check it out because I thought he made some really good points about it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't hear about that. I'll have to check that one out. This chick, though, I don't know who... I mean, she could literally be anyone in it. I don't know who they'd be casting her as. It's interesting that they're not disclosing who they're casting her as. But
she's got to be one of the main supporting characters.
Yeah. If not one of the main characters, because while she's a supporting role a lot over here, like in Game of Thrones, which blew my fucking mind. I saw her in Game of Thrones and didn't even know it was her. Or like when she was in Arrow as Katana. she is, like you said, she's one of the more famous Asian actresses, and over in Japan and China and stuff, she's a lot more well known than she is here. So it could be even a stronger role than that, than a supporting role. But I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't watched the show yet, so it's all you.
Yeah.
Did you have a guess, maybe?
No, not really. I saw somewhere that someone said that she could be the villain, but if
they already have Michael Pitt as the Laughing Man, though.
I was gonna say the Laughing Man was a dude in the anime and the mangas, so I don't know. Unless she's one of the people working with the Laughing Man, I don't know who she could be.
She could be a made-up character too, because they're probably not going to directly 100% adapt it. They usually don't. They usually try to make up their own kind of flavor to the same universe.
Yeah. So I don't know. Either way, should be good. I really liked her. Arrow occasionally gave her some shit scenes, but
Arrow gives everyone a whole lot of shit scenes. So,
but yeah, I really liked her in that, and I guess I liked her in Game of Thrones. I don't know. I didn't dislike her. I don't remember her.
She, I think she was in. She might have been in the second Wolverine movie.
She was in one of the Wolverine movies.
Okay, yeah, she must have been. I think she was in the sequel. Then she might have, because it was all about the Japanese family with Silver Samurai.
I never saw that one.
It was all right. I thought she was good in it.
I borrowed it from Phil for like 6 months, and then he eventually asked for it back because I never watched it.
Well, because you guys won't watch X-Men unless you've watched all the previous X-Men movies, which the people who make the X-Men movies do not give a shit about and never have continuity.
No, that's Chris. That's Chris. She wants...
Oh, I don't know. I just think it's funny that you guys are like hamstringing yourselves about movies that Fox doesn't even give a shit about continuing continuity for. Yeah. They have rebooted their universe more fucking times than Doctor Who has. Like,
yeah, I know. It's craziness.
Yeah.
Speaking of reboots.
Yeah, I'm excited about Ghost in the Shell. We'll have to see what happens with that one. So, yeah. So, Ron, you have a little bit of info on the Power Rangers franchise for us?
A little bit is probably making it sound like I have a lot more than I do. Basically, the internet imploded a while back because of an interview that the Lionsgate CEO, I'm probably going to butcher this name, John Feltheimer, I'm going to go with. Okay. His exact quote was, "We're really, really excited about the Power Rangers movie. We could see doing 5, 6, or 7. And then every news site on the goddamn planet came out and said, Lionsgate planning 7 Power Rangers movies. I mean, all you can get from that is, if this makes bank, we would like to make a lot more bank. And that is all you can really discern from it.
Which is literally the mindset to every movie that ever gets made.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's non-news. But what? If it makes money, they're going to make another one? But, yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to happen. Even if it's successful, the only fucking movies that get that far into their... Like, Fast and the Furious is like the only one that's outside of like Star Wars that I can even think of that made it that far. Not counting the Marvel stuff. That's a little bit of a different beast.
I don't know. I'm on the fence about that because...
There's no way it's going to make Fast and the Furious money. There's no way.
No, there's no way it's going to do that, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't do several movies in the franchise off of it.
I think by movie 3... they are direct to DVD. I have no hope for
I don't know. It's one of the most recognizable franchise names. I mean, how long has that been on TV show? I was a little kid when it started.
I don't know.
It started early 90s. It's still going.
Box office is really fluky. Like,
yeah.
Fucking...
But we're also talking about little kids here. And then people my age, like, this is Mighty Morphin. This is rebooting the original. So I remember Mighty Morphin, and if I had kids old enough, I'd be taking them to see it because I'd be interested to see it myself and interested to get them to see it. So the first one, I think, at least, is going to do well enough to warrant a second, maybe even third. They'll probably greenlit 2 after this one's my guess. Whether the third one happens or not, but they'll probably greenlight 2 off of the first one.
I think a lot depends on how much budget they're putting towards this, because if they're going all out and then given this like $150 or $200 million budget, I don't think it's that high, but it is pretty special effect heavy, so I don't know.
It is special effect heavy. I can't see them going that high because I don't think it'll make that, but I don't know. I don't know if they can get 7 off of it, but it is a pretty recognizable franchise, and if nothing else, there's a lot of kids that would want to see it, advertise the shit out of it on kids' movies.
I actually be curious. I should have done my research better and actually gone and looked up the
this is the movie expletives. We don't do
movie
research.
In the 90s was out in theaters, wasn't it?
The first, they had 2 movies that were out in theaters.
Yeah, I'd actually be curious to know what their box office was for that one, because that was in the height of Power Ranger popularity. Like, you couldn't throw a fucking rock without hitting a Power Rangers toy in the 90s.
The first one was all out. The other one, Power Rangers Turbo, or a Turbo movie or whatever, it was basically just a 2-hour episode.
Yeah, I'm looking up, let's see.
I am too.
Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin, lifetime worldwide gross $66 million, which is not horrible for the 90s, but I don't know. I'm really curious to see what their opening weekend box office is and if they have any longevity to it, because one of the reasons they've been able to make so many Fast and the Furious movies is because people will go over and over and over again and just be bored on a Sunday night and go with their buddies to go watch Fast and the Furious again.
Yeah.
If this happens and it has the same fan reaction that the Transformers or like the new Turtle movies do, and everyone just fucking hates it, it's not going to have any legs at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. When is this supposed to come out again?
Let's see if it says in the article. March 24th.
Yeah, I just found it too. March 24, 2017. I'm more interested in seeing their box office than their movie.
They've completely lost Phil. He was all on board until he saw the images of Rita and then the suit. Not their suits, but the technological aspect over mystical.
That's not a good sign, because Philip's like the biggest Power Ranger fan of all time.
I mean, he owns all the seasons and he still watches them.
Yeah, that's not a good sign for them.
Yeah, but I would own all the seasons if I remembered to fucking buy them whenever I was out. So, and I'm interested. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah.
Something that we already know how it went, and it went poorly, was Batman v Superman, Ron. And God love him. Fucking Jeremy Irons, dude.
I love Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons with these quotes made the whole movie worth watching.
Dude, Jeremy Irons is on the I would have a beer with list.
I also like how recently actors and directors just don't give a fuck and have been saying whatever the hell they want to, and I appreciate it about them. Chloe Bennett, now Jeremy Irons, Shane Black, like they just don't give a shit right now, and I like it.
Yeah. Two of those 3 are big enough that they can do that. Chloe Bennett, it was nice seeing you.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
With Jeremy Irons, why don't you give us his quotes about BVS?
I don't have it up.
Ron, you had one job.
You said you were going to pull it up, so I didn't.
This was like the one article we talked about having up, and you have failed
I thought you said you were going to have it up. Hold on, I'm looking it up.
I never said that. You can check the recording. Great airtime as
Let's
usual.
See.
I'm going to start playing some elevator music.
I bet Slash Film has it here. Let's see. So, the interview was with the Daily Mail, and regarding Batman vs. Superman, the reviews to Batman vs. Superman, He said the reviews were deservedly so, referring to that the reviews were bad. And he says, I mean, it took 800 million pounds, so the kicking didn't matter, but it was sort of overstuffed. It was very muddled. And then later in the interview, referring to Justice League, he says, I think the next one will be simpler. The script is certainly a lot smaller, and it's more linear. So,
good.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Very good news.
If I have one more scene with fucking Lex Luthor having theology discussions with someone, I'm going to shoot myself in the face.
Well, Jeff, I've got some news for you, because it looks like he's returning.
Fuck me.
But
Can he return just to get stepped on by Darkseid? Because I'll go back and pay for a second ticket and not even watch the movie if that happens.
He gets Omega beamed.
Oh, dude, right there. Fucking instant, very minimum B rating.
It just zigzags its way around him and hits him straight in the ass, and he disintegrates.
I'm okay with this.
That's how I'd do it. But yeah, I also like how the original place I read the article was probably either Nerdist or IGN. It was talking about how harsh Jeremy Irons' comments were. I was like, what in that was harsh? It sounded very professional and very just straightforward.
Yeah. It wasn't like he started taking pot shots.
Yeah.
It's like...
And he didn't talk shit about the movie. He didn't say anything we didn't already know. I mean, it was...
Yeah. It wasn't like he was just like, man, that piece of shit I worked on for 5 months, I'm sure pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, it wasn't like fucking... what's her name from Amazing Spider-Man? Aunt May. It wasn't like her saying the movie was dog shit.
Sally Field, I think is her name. Yeah, that was bullshit. Right. Her comments, she can go fuck herself. You're an actor. You should show up and actually perform. You got paid. That's my thoughts on that. I thought that was ridiculous, some of her comments.
Yeah, just to show you what harsh comments look like. Oh, don't you play a fucking video. You
look at the Sally Field comments?
Yeah. Yeah, her exact quote for Aunt May in Amazing Spider-Man was, it's really hard to find a three-dimensional character in it. You work at it as hard as you can, but you can't put 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Oh my God.
That's harsh. Jeremy Irons saying the script was a bit muddled is not harsh. It's fact.
Yeah, fuck Sally Field. But yeah, I actually think this is a very good sign for Justice League because obviously Jeremy Irons has shown you he will be candid about his opinion of the movies he has done. And if he did genuinely think the script for Justice League was better, he wouldn't have said anything.
Exactly.
So, I think this is a good sign. And he's probably too late to the game to have had an influence in the script or anything. But Jeff Johns actually, I think, having some influence over the final cut of the film, which was one of the biggest fucking problems of BVS because it looked like they needed another couple more editing runs through it.
Oh, they needed a lot more than a couple.
Couple of dozen more editing runs through BVS. Yeah. So I am feeling a little bit better about BVS now. But yeah, another actress or actor who's been outspoken recently was actually Hayley Atwell.
Yes.
And for all the right reasons, she has been really, really backing the fan agenda to get Agent Carter back on the air.
God damn, I love Hayley Atwell.
For her too?
Yeah. So there's a lot of articles. This one I'm looking at is on IGN, titled "Hayley Atwell willing to do whatever it takes to bring back Agent Carter." Because there's been all the online petitions and stuff to get it moved to Netflix or whatever on nochange.org. And her quote is, because she's got Conviction also coming out on CBS, NBC. It's not ABC, I don't think.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know. But she signed up for that. That was how we first knew everyone was starting to abandon ship from Agent Carter. But she said that I would shoot on the weekends, take blue serum, whatever it takes. Is what she said. I believe she was at MegaCon in Orlando, Florida. Someone asked her if there'd be any way that they'd be coming back. And she said that she was 100% on board and to bring the character back to life. And then her quote was, whatever it takes. Dominic Cooper said that he believes that they'll be seeing Howard Stark and Peggy Carter again. But the funny thing about that is, for us to get Howard Stark, it doesn't have to be Dominic Cooper. So, as we have young and old Howard Stark in the MCU. But there was, this isn't the original article I saw this on, but the original article that I read, and I can't remember if it was on like Collider or Slash Film or Nerdist or what, but they had an interesting idea that I did not agree with their version of it. And that was that to bring back Agent Carter on, like, say, Netflix or something, and once you finish Peggy Carter's run, start up her niece's run.
Agent 13.
Agent 13's run in the same show, because she is Agent Carter's niece and her last name's Carter, and it would still work. I would not sacrifice Hayley Atwell for her. If I couldn't get Hayley Atwell, I would take her. I have nothing against her. But if I have Agent Carter, it better goddamn jolly well be Hayley Atwell. What I did like in that, though, was the idea of bringing Agent 13 into Netflix. So they had Coulson in the MCU movies bring Agent 13 into Daredevil and everything else, into the same role like Agent Coulson had.
Yeah, and she's been awesome in that role too. So I'd like to see more of her.
Yeah. For some reason, that never even crossed my mind, because for whatever reason, Stan Lee has said he wants to make cameos in the Netflix stuff, and he hasn't been. And Agent Coulson, said that he wants to be showing up in them. And he at one point said that, I will be. And they were like, no, you won't be, because he hasn't showed up at all. And, bring in Agent 13. Why not?
Yeah, it's just really weird how they have been so hard-nosed about, because what was funny is, if you remember when they first started pimping out Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. back in season 1, what did they say, like, during every commercial break? It's all connected.
Yeah.
Keep watching, it's all connected. And you got Samuel L. Jackson in a couple times at the beginning and end of like seasons 1 and seasons 2, I think.
Yeah, for a few minutes.
For about a grand total of 5 minutes.
Something like that.
And you've had 1 or 2 appearances by Kobe Smulders, who's Hill.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, I think they had Lady Sif for 1 episode, and that's been the only connection.
Yeah, Lady Sif was in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No, they don't.
I'm surprised it hasn't been canceled yet, honestly, because they just seem to be so disinterested in it.
They've only used Agent 13 in 2 Captain America movies, and we're not getting any more Captain America movies. So I say bring her over to Netflix, and the way Coulson assembles the Avengers, have her assemble the Defenders or something, and have her the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent with that. And then you could have her popping up in Punisher, and she's working side by side with that, or like her and Punisher and Daredevil, or whatever. You can have her popping up, and Luke Cage could run into her.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate because it'd all be really cool, but it's just the way that they've shown they've been operating. And it's just I give it like a 1% chance of actually happening. It just sucks.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
Agent Carter is actually a more devastating blow than I think they realize, because I figured with Disney owning ABC, that they may not risk cutting her for fan backlash. So I was actually kind of surprised when they did. I mean, I can't say I was surprised. I knew the ratings were abysmal, but
we're lucky we got a season 2.
We're lucky we got a season 2 at all. But to have a female hero, especially in pretty much all movies, it's just nothing but dudes, and to have such a strong female character, I was on that aspect. I was kind of surprised that they cut her.
It was a terrible PR decision.
Oh yeah. I mean, if nothing else, a terrible PR decision. I don't know. season 1 didn't have great ratings. We were lucky to get season 2. Because of season 1, season 2's ratings were abysmal. But dude, just like that first and second half of S.H.I.E.L.D. in season 1, there's a fine line there. Season 1, Agent Carter, I watched for Agent Carter. I couldn't give really two shits about episode to episode because, I mean, I could have watched it or not as far as the episodes go, but I loved Agent Carter, so I watched it for her. Season 2 was fucking amazing. Yeah,
I like season 1 better than you did, but I definitely thought season 2 was better. Pretty much anything I actually really, really liked. Obviously, I loved Carter and Jarvis. I liked every time they were able to have Dominic Cooper on. He was always awesome. And I actually really, really liked their Black Widow idea. I thought that was really, really well done.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, season 2 was incredible, and you know all the stuff with was it Zero Matter or whatever? That's all supposed to tie in with Doctor Strange. Hayley Atwell had said before, and everything else. So yeah.
It's a bummer. I would take, dude, we don't have to get a show. I would just like a 2-hour movie to wrap everything up. I'd be fine with that.
I know, especially with the I guess it's not a semi-cliffhanger. It was a cliffhanger. But not for me, though, because I was wanting that to happen at some point throughout season 2. I finally got it. So for me, that was kind of closure.
But it just sucks because like the whole point in that show was to get to the creation of S.H.I.E.L.D., and we never even got close to it, so that's a real bummer. I just want a 2-hour movie, very minimum. I'm cool with that. Just make a fucking movie.
Yeah.
For PR sakes alone, and it'll get good
go the Serenity route, you know? Do your third season as a movie just to cap it off.
Yeah. But while we're on the subject of Marvel TV shows, let's actually talk about one that FX is trying to... well, they've actually officially greenlit it now. They've been trying to get it off the ground for a while, but now it's official. Legion is going to be getting an 8-episode first season order. And this is a little bit strange, and you would expect them with the recent success of the X-Men First Class movies that this would basically be like, people were kind of calling it ahead of time, oh, this will probably be like their Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. How it, sort of kind of connects in, and they'll occasionally throw in like a guest, just to pump up ratings and shit like that.
Right.
But the head of FX has actually said this is going to take place in basically a parallel universe. It's not going to tie in with the movies at all.
Really?
Which was interesting to me. The concept's pretty cool. If you're unfamiliar with it, which most people are, it was actually New Mutants, which is one of the movies they've been talking about doing too. So I guess it's going to be based around the character. Let me find the name. I had heard of the character, but I didn't recognize his name. So the lead in it, I don't know if they're going to be doing it for the show, but in the comics, he was actually the son of Professor Xavier, and he has similar powers.
Okay.
Let's see. Trying to find the name of let's see. No, Noah Hawley is making the show. He's going to be show running it. He's actually pretty popular right now because of Fargo. And let's see. Yeah, he's part of the New Mutants. Still trying to find the fucking name of the character. David Haller. That's his name. AKA Legion. Legion is his actual kind of like mutant name. Metal. He is a patient under care for PTSD. He pretty much has no control over his mutant power.
Okay.
Which is, it's pretty interesting what they're kind of taking like a more adult approach to mutant powers, I think. Which is kind of cool, but I was just really surprised to hear that it's not taking place as part of the movie universe.
Yeah, that's a bit odd.
It's like, you can do it and then still be the redheaded stepchild, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Like S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's still technically in the universe, but they can basically pretend it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's like, if they've already proven over there you can do it, why would you not tie it in?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's 8 episodes. Weird. I'll give it a shot. It's got some good actors with it because a lot of them are from Fargo. Yeah. And everyone fucking loves that Fargo show. So, yeah. I'm interested. I'll give it a couple of episodes shot. I don't know. Are you interested in watching this at all? I know you're kind of off base with the X-Men stuff.
I'll give it a shot. But if they've only got 8 episodes, they probably only got 3 to wow me in before I cut it. That's kind of the way I did Fear the Walking Dead with their 6. I gave them half that show, and I was like, nope. But yeah, I don't know. I just as being a 8-episode series would probably actually grab my attention better, because the movies to me, including First Class, feel like they're kind of stuck in the era of like the 90s to early 2000s superhero movie. But I live in a post Iron Man and Avengers world, so.
You didn't like First Class?
I like First Class. I bought it.
I loved First Class. I thought it was great.
It still feels to me like it's stuck in the 90s or early 2000s. You know, I don't know. I didn't move past First Class, so.
I loved First Class. I thought it was one of the better X-Men movies they did.
I agree. But I was just like, nah. I saw the trailer for Days of Future Past, and to me, most of the time, I don't like time travel because it's usually a cop-out.
Except where you watch Doctor Who, so.
Well, it's time travel done well. You know, they worry about implications and paradoxes and everything else. So, and it's like one of the like major focal points of the show. So they do a lot of timey-wimey shit. Most of the time in shows, it's almost like a gimmick. Like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like that's what bothers me a little bit about some of the time travel in The Flash. They just kind of do whatever the fuck they want. He fucked up all kinds of stuff in the second season, and the only thing we got was one of their villains that, if I recall correctly, might have died or whatever, was there helping them, and that's it. That's the only ramification. And he fucked up some like major shit going back in time.
Yeah. I get it with The Flash too. They're also just bad about, now Barry, don't you change shit. Okay, guys, I won't. And then the first thing he fucking does is start saving people and shit. It's like, dude, they just told you about this.
Yeah, I
get that. I actually thought they did a pretty smart thing in Days of Future Past, though. I was really critical of their trailers too. Their marketing was not good for that movie, and the movie was a lot better than what was presented in the trailers.
Was it?
I actually really liked their idea of using time travel to basically correct the universe, because what they did is they actually used time travel to kind of reboot the universe and start making it more like the comics, which I was okay with.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't grab my attention, and I figured, I'll catch it eventually, and I just never did. I ended up forgetting it even existed for a while. And then they announced Apocalypse, and I was like, oh yeah, X-Men's still out there.
Yeah, I liked Apocalypse. I definitely like Days of Future Past better, though. But yeah, another movie or another TV show we're actually going to be checking out for sure is Westworld, and we finally have a loose release date. It is coming to HBO this fall, and I'm pretty psyched for this.
Yeah, dude. Everything that I've heard about this gets me excited for it.
The only thing that worries me is Westworld was in fucking production hell for like a year and a half. And at one point actually shut down production completely. I forget the reasoning for it, but it got shut down for a while. Yeah. They resumed. They got it completed. The cast is great. I like the idea. I like Michael Crichton. So I'll definitely be checking it out. It's HBO. It'll at least be like a 7 out of 10. But I'm just going to be curious to see how much those production delays fucked with it. So yeah, I'll be checking it out, though. So,
I've got this bad feeling that there may be a fine line when she gets past a certain episode that it just all of a sudden drops or something. That's usually what happens, it feels like, when they go through that.
Yeah. And we've got one more little bit of gaming news to get through, and then we'll be out of here for the day. And this one's basically going to be all Ron. They have announced a Mega Man animated series coming up fairly soon. What were your thoughts on this?
I mean, it's not the first time he's had a series, but I don't... Okay. Let me start off by saying I acknowledge that this is not aimed at me whatsoever. It's a kid's cartoon show. I'm going to be 31 years old this year. It is not aimed for me. But I do like that the series is coming from Man of Action Entertainment, who's most famous for Ben 10, which I watched and enjoyed, and Ultimate Spider-Man, which I don't think I caught any of Ultimate Spider-Man, but everything that I have seen and heard from it people that watched it loved that cartoon. So, and there's endless amounts of memes from that cartoon.
Paul Dini was one of the writers.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Here's the thing that blew my fucking mind. Next year, when this show comes out, will be the 30th anniversary of Mega Man.
Well, I guess it makes sense because Pokemon's like 25 now.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't need to feel any older than I already do. But yeah, apparently I am not in the minority on this thought, but not a lot of people are liking the Mega Man redesign. I don't know what age bracket it is that's bitching about it. If it's like me, well then, it's not aimed for you. It's going to do it's odds are it's going to do well depending on where it lands. I don't see anything about any networks or anything in here. I mean, networks that we don't have. It's going to be distributed by DHX Media and Dentsu Entertainment. All means nothing to me. But to me, it looks like Tron. To me, it looks like he would be battling Clue in the MCP, not Sigma or Dr. Wily.
I didn't think of that, but after you pointed it out to me, I saw it too.
But
it looked like he could totally be riding a light cycle.
Yeah, and the animation style reminds me a bit of Code Lyoko, which the animation style in that show is the only reason I didn't fucking watch it. That and like the first 2 episodes I saw were apparently the worst episodes you could have watched because nothing fucking happens in those episodes, and I was really bored. So it kind of fuck Code Lyoko. I got ruined on it, but it reminds me of that also. So it's got a lot of shit going against it as far as I'm concerned. But like I said, there's been no indication of what age bracket it's actually aimed at, but it's for kids. So
are little kids? Do they still make routinely new Mega Man games?
The last.
This is actually another one that's a little odd to me in who exactly the audience is, because the last Mega Man game I remember seeing was actually I watched it on a Let's Play where it was actually a collection of a lot of the older SNES titles and stuff. Yeah,
which that is currently out on shelves. There's been the X collection also. X is mine and Philip's jam. We loved X. Mega Man himself is kind of a kid and was kind of aimed at younger players. X was more difficult, and he was a more adult version, kind of like the difference in Kid Link and Adult Link. And his story was a lot cooler, but that was our jam. But there's been several games in recent years. They just weren't as big as, say, Mega Man Legends on Nintendo 64. It was probably the last major one that I remember people raving about. I played it. I didn't fucking like it, but a lot of people actually really liked that game. They had a lot of handheld games that came out, but yeah. One of them I liked the story to. He actually, Tron style, went into a computer and was trying to... It was actually kind of cool. It was kind of a hybrid game. It was its own thing, but not at the same time. And while it wasn't rated... it wasn't labeled as Mega Man X, I forget the name of the game. It was Mega Man whatever, but it was actually kind of following up the Mega Man X franchise, because the villain is Sigma, and as you can imagine, the worst part about fighting against a robot or any piece of software would be it doesn't really fucking matter that you destroy the body, because he has a backup somewhere and he just builds himself a new body. Sigma he's the villain of every X game. He comes back every time for that reason.
Basically Ultron.
Yeah, the first game basically ends with the end credit scene being a computer that lights up and Sigma's face in the computer.
Spoilers, Ron. God damn it.
So the premise of this game, I think it was on Game Boy Advance, was he goes into a computer Tron style to get rid of Sigma, to finally destroy Sigma once and for all. And what was cool was there are select villains from other X games that were the main villains. They were computer reproductions, software reproductions of those villains and stuff. It was actually kind of cool. But yeah,
it does sound cool.
I mean, I don't know. He's still around in handheld stuff, but he's one of the characters they turned into where instead of it being kind of aimed at everyone, it became aimed for a younger audience, and they lost the players like me and Phil. Maverick Hunter X was the last one that Phil and I were really hardcore into, and that was on PSP.
When did that one come out?
That one, well, I mean, it was on PSP, so it was a while.
Mid-2000s?
Yeah, let me see. I'm getting it.
Yeah. I just don't know. I don't really get why you would push Mega Man. I mean, I get it.
2006.
I get it. It's because Hollywood doesn't have any fucking original ideas that they're ballsy enough to actually put into production. But you want to know what this makes me think of is, you remember Astro Boy?
Yes.
That they made a kids-oriented Astro Boy movie that looked like Pixar, had a redesigned animation style just like this does.
Yeah.
And it was retooled for little kids. And guess what? They never fucking heard of it, so no one went and saw it.
Yeah.
It's like you try to pinpoint it to an audience that has no brand recognition, but
they kind of went all out on that too, because that's a 1930s or 40s black and white anime, and they had Nick Cage as his quote unquote father.
Yeah, it's very odd how Hollywood sometimes will try to use brand recognition, not realizing that they're retooling it towards an audience that literally has no brand recognition of what you're selling.
Yeah.
This makes me think that was actually what made me think of.
Well, depending on what network that it lands on, too, it could get some traction. And it is a game franchise that people recognize. Kids today should recognize. Even if they don't recognize it the way Phil and I would.
Developers are doing now is they're waiting for one of the cartoon animated movies, like this has been done with Turbo and How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda and the Penguins and the Minions. Like, they take all those established movie properties and they spin them off into their own TV show, and they fucking crush because the kids recognize it. If a little kid has an opportunity to either watch Kung Fu Panda or How to Train Your Dragon and Mega Man, there's no fucking comparison. They're going to pick the other two because that's actually a brand they recognize. So I don't really get... I think if you're going to make a fucking Mega Man thing, what they should do is do the route that they're doing with Voltron. Is basically for like you or Philip,
Yeah.
They're targeting that audience.
It's for the older audience.
Makes sense.
The one thing that Phil and I have always wanted is an X animated something. We don't. They never do X. They did I don't know, 10 or more games of X, and you never get anything from X. So, I mean, there's just as many X as there is regular Mega Man games, almost.
Yeah, I don't know. I predict this not doing as well as they hope, though.
Yeah, it probably won't. The original cartoon that actually has, over the years, acquired a fan base. It didn't do shit when it came out, but I remember watching it on, I don't remember if it was weekday mornings or weekend mornings, but there was a Mega Man cartoon. It had Snake Man and all of the recognizable villains in it. And, I mean, it was cool, but I would rather be playing the game than watching the cartoon.
That's another good point, too.
So,
you have to be very careful when you're doing video game adaptations of, like you're just saying, why the fuck
Mario?
am I playing this? It's much better when I'm playing it.
Do you remember watching Mario or Pac-Man?
I have seen bits and pieces of Pac-Man. I haven't seen Mario, though.
Oh, dude. They were both fucking awful.
Well, Pac-Man, didn't he have a family and shit? And they turned into a little sitcom almost?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. What the fuck?
It was almost Hanna-Barbera-ish.
Well, that's fucking Pulp Fiction compared to what's about to happen with Tetris. I'm just going to tell you that now.
Yeah, dude, Mario was just painful. Even as a kid, I was like, fuck this. I never saw Zelda. That was a little bit, it was after I was born, but it was before my time. kind of. I wasn't old enough to appreciate anything that like that. But Andre, a guy I used to work with at the movie theater, he found it at Best Buy of all places, and he fucking bought it because it's another one of those things that gathered a cult following over the years, and everyone that has ever watched it that is a fan of it will tell you that it is fucking horrendous. But it was fucking Zelda, and it was a cartoon, and it is probably the only thing Zelda you're going to get outside of the games.
Is that like the only time Link's ever talked? Isn't that?
Yes. I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And fuck anyone that thinks he doesn't talk. I'm telling you. That shit drives me up the wall.
Well, wait, what about it drives you up a wall?
There's a lot of people out there, like even the fan-made Fistful of Rupees movie on YouTube and stuff. He never talks, and people, there's all kinds of memes about him not having the ability to talk. He's not.
So you're complaining that people think he's mute and not just a silent protagonist in the game?
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Here's the thing. People think he's mute, but if you look at almost any of the Nintendo games and several video games other than that, but even in like Pokemon and everything, it's clear if you read what the other characters say that he is talking, but he's not because you are the character.
There's a difference between a silent protagonist and a mute character. They're not the same.
Because like people ask his name, like, "Oh, you said your name is Link," or
Dark Souls. Dark Souls is the same exact thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because you are the character. They're not putting words in your mouth. You know, they're saying that you said this, whether that's what you wanted to say or not, but they're not saying how you said it.
Yeah, that's stupid. I didn't realize that was a thing. I thought it was kind of obvious that like so many games do silent protagonists. I thought that was kind of established by now.
Nope. It's about as muddled as people thinking Zelda is Link.
That's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Really, really, really quickly, do you have any interest in if it happens the Nintendo in-house animated stuff?
Not really. Nintendo has killed most of my interest in their stuff over the years.
I'd be curious about Star Fox, Metroid, or Zelda would be about the only ones I would actually be curious about.
Here's the problem I have with that, though. They have gone the route of all family and little kids and casual gamers and stuff. It's not going to be aimed for us. It's going to be aimed for like 10 years old or even younger. You know, like it's going to be bad.
I would just be curious what they did because I actually did really like. I don't know how much you've kept up with like the Zelda games. I actually really liked The Link Between Worlds. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, the last one I attempted to play was Twilight Princess, and I just ended up watching Chris play through all of it. She's at the final boss, and we never finished it. But I can't do motion controls. It drives me up the fucking wall. I can't stand it. So
I think you would actually like... if you like A Link to the Past, you basically will like A Link Between Worlds, because it is a fucking like sequel to it. So.
Is it?
It's like the exact same game, almost. Just
I can't stand anything Toon Link either.
I think you would like A Link Between Worlds, but yeah, we run over time, so I think we're gonna go ahead and do the wrap up and get out of here. Do what?
I said what? Us?
Never happens. If you'd like to check us out more, please like and subscribe. That gets you all of our content, all the Let's Plays, podcast commentaries, etc. we provide. We also have Facebook and Twitter description in the description below. We have links for that. If you know anyone else that might also like to check out our mediocre as fuck content, please share us out in the world. And with that, I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
And we will see you guys next week.